to Simply Me. I'm glad that you've tuned into my channel. If you've seen my previous video, you know that it was about divorce. And so what I've realized is that divorce is a multifaceted thing. It has many elements to it. So what I've decided to do is go ahead and make it into a series with maybe about 4 to 5 parts. And so in today's video, we're going to talk about divorce and children. So stay tuned. As you all know, I went through a divorce last year. And so with divorce, it has many layers. And one of the layers was my children. And so I knew that all of our lives was getting ready to change, right? And that my kids were going to be impacted by the divorce as well. So I wanted to get ahead of that because I hear a lot about adults who have issues from their childhood, from having their parents divorced when they were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, and they could remember that. And now it's an issue for them in their adult life. And what I did not want to happen is for that to be my children. You know, I knew that I couldn't shield them in a way from what was getting ready to go on or what was going on. But what I wanted to do was make sure that they were able to process it correctly and not blame themselves, right? And so when my ex-husband and I separated, I had a talk with my children. I had a talk with them in terms that a 5 and 8 year old at the time could understand. And so I spoke with them and I just told them, you know, Mama and Daddy don't want to be together anymore, and it's okay, and it's not anything that you've done wrong, it's not your fault, and so we just don't want to be together anymore, but I love you, he loves you, and that is that. And so, but I did want to help them process it. I would speak with them every day, check in with them every day. Hey, how are you feeling on the inside? What are your thoughts today? And it was easier for my youngest to express herself to me because she's very outspoken, and I would ask her, you know, how are you feeling on the inside today? And she would tell me, oh, I'm not feeling too, and then we would explore that, right? Whatever she would say, we would explore it. Okay, why are you feeling happy? Why are you feeling sad? What changed today? And that was how I went about it. But you kind of have to assess your kids. You know your kids. You can analyze them and see that they're different. My two are polar opposites of each other, right? My youngest is bouncing off the walls. She's bouncing off the walls. And my oldest is, she just like, sit down. So I knew that I had to approach them differently. So what worked for my baby is not going to work for my oldest, because my oldest is an introvert. But I would check in with her the same way. I would check in with her, try to talk with her, but hers was more of I have to pull her thoughts out of her. I have to pull her feelings and emotions out of her. She doesn't really like to express herself. And so for her, I did explore counseling for her. I did. And I think that was a good decision that I made. And and I asked her, well, would you want to go? I tried to include them in the decision making, because at this point they're probably feeling like everything is out of their control. They can't keep mommy and daddy together. They can't do this, they can't do that. So I tried to give them as much control as I could, So we opted to go. And another reason why I was kind of pushing for her to go, because I knew it would impact her more because of her personality and because her life was getting ready to change the most. It was getting ready to change the most because at that time, my ex-husband was the only father that she had known up until that point. And her biological father was getting ready to come back in her life. So I wanted to prepare her for that, as well as help her process the divorce, and now help her process, a new man to her coming into her life as her father. But that's a whole nother video too. We're gonna explore that as well. But for my oldest, we did do the counseling, and it was good for her. Gave her some tools to kind of to express herself, because that's what I want. I want emotionally and mentally healthy. Want to raise emotionally and mentally healthy children. I'm glad that we did the counseling. Me and her, we went together, and it was awesome. It was awesome. And also, I had to pray over my children, because the enemy will try to come in, right? The battlefield of their minds, their little minds, they're impressionable. And I had to cover my children in prayer, because I knew what I was going through mentally, and I could not imagine my children going to that. So I covered them in lots of prayer, and also extended some grace to them, because it was a change. Even though in our case it wasn't as drastic of a change, and I'm not saying this to be shady or anything, but our day-to-day lives really didn't change. The only thing that really changed is that my ex-husband wasn't living in the home with us anymore, but our day-to-day activities didn't really change. So, but it was changed enough for a 5 and 8 year old to go through. And so I knew I needed to nip whatever in the bud before it impacted them. It has a lasting effect on their lives. And now this thing is not a one size fits all type deal. It's not, what works for my family might not work for yours. But I just wanted to kind of detail my journey, tell you about the different aspects of it. And so there are different layers to the divorce. You got to peel those things back, and you have to go through them. And with my children, I know I have to protect those kids at all costs. Protect the kids at all costs. Protect their innocence, because I want them to mature and be responsible adults that knows how to work through their issues, and not, be out here cutting up a food like they ain't got no sense. So, if I would have had the choice, nobody wants to go through this. Nobody wants to go through a divorce, especially when children are involved. But, sometimes it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary. And another thing, I'm not advocating for divorce. No, that is not what I'm doing, okay? I'm just sharing my journey. I'm just sharing what I went through and what helped me, or how I got through it. And it's not going to be for everybody, but it's just to say, you're not the only one, you're not, and you don't have to carry the burdens on your own. You don't have to do it alone. There has been many who has gone through the same thing. We made it out, and we're just telling you, and I'm just telling you that you can. It's going to be okay. I think, I think I'm gonna get t-shirts made. Like, it's going to be okay. We can do this. We can be awesome parents to our children and still process. It's a process, and no one knows how long the process is, but it is indeed a process, and we're gonna get through it. It's going to be okay. And so I hope that you got a little bit of nuggets from this video. I am just embracing every aspect of new life. Every time I learn something. And so I just want to be a help to someone else. And so stay tuned for the other parts of the series. There might be at least 5 total. At least 5 total to the divorce series. So, and today part 2 was divorce with children. And so look out for part 3, and thank you so much for watching. If you have not already, subscribe, comment below, hit that notification bell, share the video if you want to, and I will see you next time on Simply Me.